Councillor Cameron, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you, yes.
Thank you. Okay, good evening. Welcome to tonight's council meeting for Monday, the 10th of November 2025. We will start with the opening affirmation. Councillor Glacken, please stand.
Thank you. We gather to represent the people of Albury who have entrusted us with this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, wisdom and common sense. May our personal values give us honesty and courage to serve our community effectively and with respect for all. Amen.
Thank you. Acknowledgement to country, Councillor Bullivan.
We would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people as the traditional custodians of the land that we meet on today and pay our respects to elders past, present and future, for they hold the memories, culture, tradition and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people that contribute to our community.
Thank you. CM2 recording and webcasting a meeting. This council meeting has been webcast and recorded. By speaking at the council meeting, you agree to being recorded and webcast. Please ensure that if and when you are speaking at the council meeting that you are respectful to other people and use appropriate language. Albury City accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of the council meeting. An audio recording will be made for administrative purposes. CM3, conflict of interest declarations received by the chair. I haven't received any. Mr. Zachnich?
Thank you, Mayor Mack. No other conflicts of interest received. Disclosure of political donations under the Environmental Planning Assessment Act requires a person submitting planning applications or submissions regarding a planning application to disclose any reportable political donation and or gifts to any local councillor or employee of the council. Reportable political donations include those of or above $1,000. There are no development applications for consideration at this meeting and accordingly no further advice is required. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zachnich. Apologies, there are none. 4.1, attendance by councillors at a meeting by audio visual link. 4.2, thank you, councillors. Councillor King?
I'd like to move that council receive, note and accept the attendance of Councillor Cameron via audio visual link for the meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan?
Read a second.
Thank you. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Okay, there is no Merrill minute. CM6 action plan. CM 6.1 action plans complete for noting only to 6.4. Thank you, councillors. Councillor King?
I'd like to move that the following action plans be received and noted. 1, actions complete for noting only. 2, actions awaiting response from external parties. 3, actions in progress. And 4, long-term issues more than 3 months.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken?
Happy to second.
Thank you. Councillor King, did you wish to open debate on that item?
None from me, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan, do you wish to speak to that item?
Thank you.
The button was depressed.
It was to second.
second.
I've taken it off.
Thank you. Okay, there appears to be no question or discussion. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. We have confirmation of minutes of the previous meeting held on Monday, the 27th of October, 2025 at 6:17 p.m. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Glacken?
Thank you through you, Mr. Mayor, to move the recommendation as a motion that the minutes of the council meeting held on Monday, the 27th of October, 2025 at 6:17 p.m. be confirmed.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan.
Read a second motion.
Thank you, Councillor Glacken. Did you wish to speak to that at all?
You know.
Thank you. There appears to be no question or debate. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. There are no reports from community forums, no notices of motion or rescission, no presentation of deputations, reports and minutes of committees and working parties. Thank you, councillors. 11.1 minutes of the Companion Animals Advisory Panel held on Wednesday, the 15th of October, 2025. Councillor Hudson.
Thanks, Mayor Mack. I move that council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Companion Animals Advisory Panel meeting held on Wednesday, the 15th of October, 2025.
Thank you. Seconder, thanks. Councillor Callaghan.
Second.
Thank you. Councillor Hudson, do you wish to speak to that at all?
Only briefly to just draw council's attention to the fact that we will be reviewing the companion animals management strategy, and it's a good opportunity to update our practices, noting that there is movement at a state level, looking at reviewing legislation at a state level, which may include things such as cat containment. So the committee continues to be a good place where we've got multiple representatives from other councils who use our services here in Albury, and receiving their input is valuable. Thank you.
Thank you. There appears to be no further questions or debate. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. No documents for sealing. 12.1, 13 officers' reports for consideration, 13.1 audited financial statements. Thank you, councillors. Councillor King.
I move that council receives and notes Albury City's audited 2024-25 financial statements and associated auditors' reports issued by the New South Wales Audit Office.
Councillor Bullivant.
Happy to second it, Mayor Mac.
Thank you. Councillor King, did you wish to speak to that at all?
Just to highlight that ARIC has resolved to advise council that it remains concerned about the state of the general fund operating deficit, has requested a briefing from the CEO on financial sustainability measures, which he addressed at our previous meeting, and has since been provided. So just noting that is certainly on their radar, and something that we are all mindful of, clearly, with our financial sustainability measures that we have in place.
Thank you. There appears to be no further questions or debate. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Thank you. 13.2, the September quarter budget review. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Bullivant.
Thank you. Move the recommendation Council A receives and adopts the revised budget estimates for the 2025-2026 financial year, and B authorises the Chief Executive Officer to make application to the New South Wales Treasury Corporation to draw down budgeted infrastructure loan funding of up to $25 million during the 2025-2026 financial year.
Thank you. Councillor Glickin.
Happy to second that.
Thank you. Councillor Bullivant, I have a question. Are you happy for me to take the question before we open debate?
Yes, thank you. Yep, no worries.
Thank you. Councillor King, question?
Thank you. Just notice under the sewer fund capital budget, it says that the spend is 16.2 million, with a decrease for the net sewer fund capital budget of 80,000 as outlined below. I just noticed the increases. It mentions the sewer pump station 37 renewal of sewer infrastructure. It's just disappeared on me. We had a budget, I think, of 600, and then it's been revised. So I guess I'm just sort of wondering, what are the challenges with budgeting for a renewal such as that, and is there some detail around that can give us a little bit more detail around that revised budget, because given that it is quite significant.
Mr. Hasty or Mr. Willis?
Mr. Hasty.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question through. It's actually a pretty interesting project that's had a lot of work put into it. We had one of our engineers spend a significant amount of time working up where he thought the estimates were on that project. And, ultimately sometimes you go to market and you find out that your estimates aren't quite correct. So in this case, that budget is needed to be realigned with market into it.
You happy to follow up?
Yes, the only follow-up would mean the current scope of work. So just to explain, often it's quite challenging that water and wastewater and infrastructure and those sort of elements, and when you're renewing old infrastructure. So can you give us a little bit of detail in terms of what the costs are going to be spent on in layman's terms? If you have that ability. I know Mr. Willis it's his portfolio and he's obviously on yeah.
Mr. Hasty, is your microphone on there?
No.
How about that?
Beautiful. Thank you.
Sorry, thanks everyone, first time. But look, thanks you for the question through you, Mr. Mayor. I guess there's a few aspects to this role, like for this project for SPS 37. So there's I guess initially there was a lot of work outlined for this sewer pump station, including the remaking of the wet well, some relining of some of the sewer infrastructure, which has had major H2S issues over the period. There's also other considerations that need to be put in place concerning the construction of wet weather storages that increase the sewer capacity for our overall network. Ultimately, I think what we found out going to market was that the H2S issue, so the hydrogen sulfide issues, so how the internal aspects of the sewer network is eaten up over time through gas. The cost to rehabilitate that and some aspects of the actual pump well and station have been just a little bit more than we expected. I know that there was a number of subcontractors that were required as part of the overall tender, which has probably also added to some of that increase in scope, or increase in cost, not necessarily increase in scope, if that answers the question.
Thank you. Question, Councillor Gwacken.
Yes, through you to the general manager or most relevant member, sorry, to the most relevant member of staff. A follow-up to Councillor King's question. In my take on the answer provided to the previous question really highlights that there is more work required than was originally anticipated, that whilst it was explained that the scope of works hadn't really changed. However, my take on the answer is that components within that scope of work have expanded or come to light during the tendering and the preparatory work for the tendering process. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you for your question. I guess this particular project is putting new infrastructure on an existing continuously operating site known as a brownfield site. It's more challenging than a greenfield site in any project to develop on a brownfield location. And I guess that in this particular instance, as Mr. Hastie said, we are subservient to what the market does. Certain technologies can continue to do the project and keep this site moving. However, that comes at a cost, and that's what we have to pay to get it done.
Okay. Comfortable?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Bullen, do you wish to open debate on the item?
Well, thank you, Mayor Mac. Just alluding to our budget reviews and the budgeted works that we've got in place coming forward, with Mr. Willis and Mr. Hastie's last answers to the question, it just gives us that we've got to be particularly diligent with our tendering and our tenders in general, I would imagine. I know things come up, but we've got to be across the board. And because it's an extra couple of $100,000 here and a couple of $100,000 here with what we've got going on at the moment, we've got to be particularly diligent in our work because we've got to make sure that we get the best value from our suppliers and from our works department. But overall, the work we've got coming forward, we'd like to get that done, and hopefully it all works out for us glowingly.
Thank you, Councillor Bullen. Any further discussion or debate? Doesn't appear to be. Councillor Bullen, do you wish to close debate?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Thank you. 13.3, the Accelerated Service Planning Options Report and Stakeholder Engagement Plan. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Blacken.
Thank you. Through you to move the recommendation that Council A acknowledge the opportunities report provided by Morrison Lowe Advisory, and B, endorse the stakeholder engagement plan to progress the accelerated service planning community engagement to consider externally facing services. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Baker.
Happy to second. Thanks, Mayor Mac.
Thank you. Councillor Gwacken, do you wish to open debate?
Yes, thank you. This report is based on a body of work that staff had commenced undertaking within the last 2 years. And it's really looking at opportunities to increase funding in and decrease funding going out via the black box of Albury City Council. It is a large body of work related to that overall process that council started work on in the last 2 financial years. And the external provider has been able to highlight a number of areas during a very extensive consultative process with internal stakeholders, council staff, councillors, but also comparing that information with a number of councils across the state of New South Wales, both city and regional councils alike, and have provided a number of areas for council and our stakeholders to progress further investigation with a view to inevitably or ideally ensuring that we are more efficient and effective in the work that we undertake. A significant part of that is in relation to the work that goes into the budgeting process, including the works, determining what works we will or won't do, what services council will highlight for opportunities to make gains in efficiency, but also service delivery as well. It also shows that the work or the work by Morrison Lowe highlights that we need to base the facts or the work that council will take from this. We need to base all of that on data and actual information. We need to ensure that we have sound business cases for anything that we really want to change the way in which we do our business into the future. It also highlights that it's really not possible for us to say that we're going to stop undertaking projects, as well as highlights that we simply can't turn the lights off and hope that the work of our city will continue. It, in many respects, highlights to me that we need incremental change, and it, I believe, cautions us against radical changes in the near future. I think the body of work also highlights lots of things that the internal stakeholders, staff and councillors need to consider considerably more before we make any changes. Part of that is the stakeholder engagement plan and the process within which we can confirm with our community what they believe Albury City needs to be focusing on, what they believe are the services and facilities that need to be enhanced or can be tailored a little bit more. I look forward to hearing other discussion from the other councillors, and I will also ask a few questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glegg. Question from Councillor Callaghan.
I have a few questions, if I may, to the most relevant staff members. The first one is in relation to the potential changing of library hours, and how could this affect the accreditation of the Tourist Information Centre, which is now located at the library?
Code.
Ms. Code.
Thank you for the question, and through you, Mayor Mack. The library staff will be working and consulting the Visitor Information Centre to ensure that any changes that might be proposed will not affect the accreditation status.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ms. Code. And a follow-up question, not necessarily to you, Ms. Code, but to another staff member, the most relevant staff member. Just a question in relation to the trial that we've had for the Albury Pool winter season. I'm just wondering what the overall cost for running the winter pool season is and the usage and potentially cost per user and how that's transitioned over the last 2 years.
Plus.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Councillor Callaghan, and through you, Mayor Mac. As identified in the report, it forecasts that the cost is in the order of $200,000 per year to run the pool through the winter season. And our attendance rates per week vary between about 360 during midwinter, so that's the week mid-July, and then they grow as the weather improves back up in excess of 500 during the shoulder season of September.
Thank you, Mr. Glass.
Per week.
I'm just hoping someone is able to elaborate on the opportunities noted in the report for Red Light Hill.
Mr. Millett,
Mr. Millett, looks like you drew the short straw.
he's all over it.
Thank you very much for the question, and through you, Mayor Mac. My understanding is Red Light Hill, there's some tower infrastructure up there, and there's an opportunity to investigate leasing out space on that tower to gain income from those opportunities.
Very good. Thank you.
Good answer. You finished? Yeah.
Good questions.
I have a speaker for, then there's two more questions. Councillor Baker speaking for.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I've written a couple of notes here, and I would just like to categorically state that there have been no decisions made at all on any suggested reduction in services, shedding of staff, or ceasing proposed capital projects. We've heard from some councillors over and over again how dire the situation is, and this is having a negative effect on many staff. I'm concerned that we've got to get the balance right on this. I'm really pleased that there's a lot of benchmarking stats where we're higher than other councils and things like that. But I think it's very important to understand there's a balance and that we should be able to reach where our deficit in the general fund is brought back into the black, but we don't save ourselves broke and destroy investment in economic development activities and cease or reduce services our city requires. And people are concerned about this. So I'm really pleased this is going to go out for public consultation, and we'll get a pretty good idea on what people think are good areas to try and create some savings and others that shouldn't be touched. The process to bring the budget back to a sustainable level simply requires common sense, discipline, and the understanding that a thriving city requires a progressive council who is not afraid to drive our city forward and won't put up a closed for business sign. A closed for business sign has a very negative effect right through the community, and we don't want to be like that. So I think we've got to be smart, work the angles, and I applaud this report because it does look at everything. It looks at paid parking, which will be extremely unpopular, but that also comes with a really big cost to implement. So there are places we can look and take further action in, and I'm just pleased it's going to go out so we can hear from the people, not just councillors and council staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. Two speakers for, but I'll take a question from Councillor King and then Councillor Gwacken.
Thank you. My question relates to the consultants have been tasked with finding budget improvement options of $20 million. whereas we've projected that we need improvements of 14 million to achieve a break-even operating budget. So just a little bit of explanation around, so the 20 million, even though we've got the 14 as the goal, is it looking for a high level look at everything and beyond to pluck the best options that suit us for the target that we're looking at? Can I have a bit of explanation for that, please?
Yeah, Mr. Hastie.
Mr. Hastie.
Thank you for the question, and through you, Mayor Mac. I think the $20 million was identified as there's a significant amount in the general fund that needs to be found, and it's not necessarily, I guess it's always worth identifying additional opportunities that could be used if some don't pan out, or that some are identified as unfavourable or unlikely to implement.
Just to clarify, so this is really the draft report, the stakeholder engagement plan. So I think we need to all be mindful of that. And we have asked them to give an independent analysis. So rather than us giving judgment, that would be a fair assessment. So the next step would be community, and then back for us all to workshop further some of these options.
Mr. Hastie.
Yeah, thank you for the question through you, Mayor Mac. That's absolutely right. That's the ideal now, is to get some understanding from the community and then start to work through with our corporate performance team on scoping up these projects and the ability to be able to implement them and the potential costs.
Thanks for the clarity.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin, question?
Yes, I've got three, if I may. The first one is with reference to Morrison Lowe's suggestion and raised by Councillor Baker on page 18 of their actual report and parking. And I'm happy if this needs to be taken on notice. My memory is that when paid parking has been looked at previously in the CBD, one of the issues that it then created was with reference to fringe benefit tax. And I understand that it's one of the inhibitors for paid parking within a CBD area where people are parking for work purposes. So I'm happy the staff want to take that one on notice. Then I've got two others.
Yep. Mr. Zachnich.
Yeah, thank you. That's the sort of detail we'd identify in the impact assessments that would happen after and during the community consultation. Yeah, certainly. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And then I have two other questions. With reference to the community consultation, I looked through the list of anticipated actions that the staff will undertake for that consultation process. And I didn't see on there the sending a letter to through the post to each household and business. And I'm wondering if that might be a possibility. And by way of explanation, I have a family member that lives in a large suburb in Sydney. And earlier this year, when that council was looking at a similar process, looking at cost-saving opportunities, service levels, etc., a letter was sent to every household, providing them with a web address that they could then make their submissions. And I'm wondering if that might be an opportunity.
Yes.
Thank you for the question, Councillor, through you, Mayor Mac. There are a number of ways that the community can get involved in this, but we will absolutely take that suggestion back to the team and see whether that can be added as an option. Our intent is to come forward and provide councillors with a detailed assessment of the engagement process and the questions thereon in. So you'll be able to provide further feedback once we've done that as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
And a follow-up to some information provided by Ms. Evans-Barr just now. With reference to the style of questions, I noticed in the report by Morrison Lowe, they referred to, by way of example, the suggestion, a potential suggestion that council could look at reducing after-school care or reducing the level of long day care. And I'm wondering, is it possible for additional questions to be added to that in this example only, or with lots of other examples? Is it an option to say not just about reducing the level of service, but or would people want to pay the full fee for service as an alternative? And I ask that on the basis of I don't want us to be limiting the feedback we get from our community, because if we ask if people want us to reduce the level of service, that's really only asking half the question related to those services, whatever those services may be.
Ms. Evans-Barr.
Thank you for the question, Councillor. Through you, Mayor Mac. I think that's a really reasonable observation, and it's something that we've been discussing as a team quite broadly as well. And that's why you'll see when we provide you the breakdown of the engagement methodology, it's really important that not only we can provide community with the opportunity to, dare I say, trade off different areas and opportunities so that they can make a really informed decision, and we can get value on or understanding on what is the priority for them as a community member. But also there's an aspect to this which is a qualitative methodology. So that will involve at least 250 sample sizes across our Albury City, where we can actually have that more robust conversation and get into some of the detail around, well, if not this situation, then what's your tolerance level for this? So we'll go back and have a look at that particular item and see how that's been worked through. But that has been raised quite considerably within the team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gluck. And Speaker 4, Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you. Yes, happy to support the Accelerated Services Planning Options Report going out to stakeholder engagement. However, in saying that, I've had some feedback this week via emails and community feedback around the name of Accelerated Services Planning and what does that even mean to the community. So I suppose it's really more of an observation when we're looking to go out to community and really talking in a language that really captures the audience so that they're willing to respond, and perhaps a change of name being something along the lines of proposed changes to council services and spending. I'm sure there can be some wordsmithing done there to really capture that, because when it lands in the emails and what does that really even mean to someone? So I think we could probably do a better job and government speak for our community when we're going out for consultation. And on that, just some of my own observations. I'm a hard no to the paid parking. I raised this in our pre-meeting briefing session. We only need to look at what's happened in Wangaratta and really learn from this. We need to listen to the responses that we've already received from the community, and that was in response to the Board of Mayoral article and lots of action happening on social media from that article. But we have 19 shops on Dean Street currently empty, and we want to encourage activation in Dean Street, not deter that activation. And in talking even about paid parking, that's a really long-term plan, not something that could ever be rolled out in the time frame that we're looking at to even save money. So from my perspective and from listening to the community, I'm a hard no in supporting that action as well. And the other one that really jumps out at me that Morrison Lowe have identified is the AEC, and it's something that I spoke about at budget time as well, but I'd love to note again in the paper, as noted by Councillor King, we're trying to save $14 to $20 million over the next 2 years, give or take. The common sense approach would be stick to our budget means. And as indicated from Eric, there are concerns about overspending on major capital projects, and they actually highlighted the AEC as being one of those projects where we're overspending. I'm not opposed to the original $30 million that was originally the scope for the AEC, given that it's $25 million in grant funding, federal and state, and a $5 million commitment from Albury City. However, I am opposed to a $10 million blowout. And while we're looking so hard to find the solution when it's really right in front of us. That's my observation. Talking about reducing community services and facilities and institutions when we can have a saving by rescoping a project down to its original cost of $30 million, which would still deliver a really wonderful outcome and refurbishment for our community. Happy to see what the community think about the plan and certainly really looking forward to seeing their feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Next question, Speaker 4, Councillor Bullivant.
Thank you, Mayor Mack. Yes, I'm speaking in for this accelerated services plan. Nothing is off the board, so to speak, until we get the feedback from our community and our operational teams. We've got to look at every single option we've got in the business, and make the best informed decisions that we possibly can as a council group. It's incumbent upon us all as a group looking after our residents and stakeholders in our city to have the best options available to make the business profitable and make our city as good as what we could make our city with what we've got. It's about working together and finding the right options and listening to our community and getting the right answers before we make the right decisions.
Thank you, Councillor Bullivant. Speaking for Councillor Hudson. No questions at this point.
Thank you, Mayor Mack. I speak very tepidly for this. I do support us going out to the community and seeking their feedback, as I do on every matter. With that said, we are elected representatives of the community. We should have our own ideas already formed of what is acceptable and what isn't. I do want to thank the staff for the work that they've done. Obviously, a lot of work and a lot of probably blood, sweat and tears has gone into producing this. And there are some really great ideas in here. For example, I know one of the option was to cancel subscriptions to underutilized software or reduce duplication, and that had a fairly substantial saving attached to it. And I think that kind of opportunity is really fantastic because that's an efficiency gain. It doesn't have any kind of direct impact on service levels or impact on the community, because we need to be really clear here that there's a lot of suggestions in here which will have, if adopted, fairly significant detrimental impacts on the community. If we reduce our service levels in our community centres or our libraries, I mean, that has the potential impact to these are places which prevent isolation and disadvantage and build connection. And so, they prevent perhaps less tangible problems growing in the future. There's a suggestion in there to reduce our environmental education work, but that's how we prepare the community for hotter summers and water scarcity. So I think that there's a lot of potential contradictions in this document, in the sense that if we adopted every single measure, that we'd end up with some false economies. For example, one of the suggestions was to reduce service levels as far as staff wellbeing and WHS. Now, I foresee that if we were to do something like that, we may end up with more lost time to injury and higher work cover costs. So, I think that there's this whole exercise really does have a tinge of neoliberal managerialism to it. And we should, we do need to look at these things holistically. So again, while I do support it going out to the community and looking to their feedback, and I think that Councillor Callaghan's suggestion around making it very clear to the community that what it is that we are doing here, and not using jargon and putting it in terms that the community does understand, that we do need to take a good hard look and not end up making cuts which end up costing us in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hudson. No further questions or debate. Councillor Glacken, do you wish to close debate?
Thank you. And I thank the councillors for their discussion tonight. It's been really good discussion because it highlighted a number of areas, including Councillor Baker reminding us all very quickly, which I had failed to do in the opening comments, that this is about and focused my attention on the fact that we are putting this out for stakeholder community engagement and discussion. So thank you for that. It is a large body of work that has been started some time ago, the services review, the use of Morrison Low was interesting in its conjunction with this body of work because they have been working with a number of councils and shires for a considerable number of years now. And so they have an oversight that we as a council don't necessarily always have. And they can provide us with some areas to look at. They are areas for potential opportunity for further analysis, and that needs to be stressed. Potential opportunities where we may increase income and or we may decrease costs. And the important aspect about communicating with our community and asking them what their thoughts in all of this are, because there will be people in our community who would happily pay more for a higher level of service and facility provision. And as has been explained, we do not, as Councillor Hudson explained, we don't want to be decreasing services that are highly valued within our community. We don't want to be turning off the lights. We want to make sure that we've got a vibrant community. As Councillor Baker pointed out, we need to make sure that people know that we are open for business. We are the regional city that is one of the, if not the fastest growing regional city in New South Wales. We need to make sure that we can make the most of those opportunities and continue to make the most of those opportunities. The other discussions really honed home to me that we must be making these decisions based on sound business cases. Councillor Hudson also confirmed that some of the areas are quite contradictory in what they're telling us within the report. In one area of the report, it tells us that if we were to reduce the AEC project, we would save $275,000. $275,000 out of 20 million that we're trying to save isn't that great if we reduce that AEC project. It also confirmed that the business case for that project is actually to make income or generate income for Albury City Council. The more areas where we can generate income, the better it is for council overall, because more income coming in, decrease in the cost of providing those services means that there are other components within the council facilities and services that would directly benefit from that, as highlighted by Councillor Hudson. I really look forward to hearing from our community. I look forward to hearing a bit more about how we're going to do that, the finer detail, because we need to make sure that we consult as widely as possible, as broadly as possible with our community, because that will enable us to make a number of significant changes to enhance, but also provide services and facilities, but also to provide what our council needs in a more efficient and effective way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Black. I have put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. 13.4, the Murray River Experience Wonga Wetlands Visitor Education Experience Centre project rescoping. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you. I'd like to move the recommendation that council endorses the rescoping of the project previously known as the Murray River Experience Wonga Wetlands Visitor Education and Experience Centre, and a supporting stakeholder engagement plan to progress an interactive cultural landscape at Wonga Wetlands. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Blacken.
Happy to second.
No worries. Councillor Callaghan, do you wish to open debate?
I do. I really want to thank the staff for having the foresight to rescope this project given our fiscal climate. It's really thinking outside of the box. I really appreciate already that there's been work done with our First Nations community in seeking guidance around this project, which I think is really critical. The proposed project has less impact on what is already a really culturally sensitive site, and I think that's a really great outcome moving forward. Understanding that the water fund is currently a really healthy fund, I really need to highlight and note that we have major commitments for water and wastewater infrastructure in the order of $400 million between now and 2030. So whilst that looks all well and good on the books, we have critical investment that we really need to prioritise. I feel like this rescoping still provides a really wonderful outcome for the community. The rescope design really creates that interactive landscape, and it really increases accessibility, especially after those conventional working hours. And I also note in the report, year-round access and public access on public holidays, which I think is a real highlight. The rescoping also meets the current fiscal climate, and I love that it's rescoped, and I want to think that we can think like this on other projects. In 2014, it started at a $1.2 million project. And in 2025, that's blown out to a $6.4 million project. So rescoping this project back to $2 million is a savings of $4.4 million that achieves a fantastic outcome for our community. So thank you to the staff, and it's really thinking outside the box, and I commend you on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Question, Councillor Blacken.
Thank you. Through you to the most relevant member of staff. My question relates to, and I couldn't see it in the report, about timing. I acknowledge the rescope creates significant savings, but what is the intention with timing for undertaking this project? Would there be some fiscal advantage if we were to delay it and have access to the funds for other components in the short to medium term?
Mr. Willis.
Yes, thank you very much for your question. I guess the timing at the moment is very much dictated by the archaeological diggings that we're currently undertaking. If we were to progress with this project, we are required to do more digging. The more we find, the more we dig. By rescoping the project back from a building, but still allowing for the facility for a future building down the track, we're reducing that time. So to answer your question, there should be a reduction in time, but until we've complete the archaeological digs, I can't give you an indication of what that would be at this point.
Can I clarify my question? Appreciating and thanking you for the information provided so far. My question is really around noting the suggestion of the report that we rescope the project. My question is about would there be a financial advantage, benefit to council in the short to medium term if we were to not only rescope but also delay the commencement of this project so that we could utilise some of that funding for more critical projects in the short to medium term?
Mr. Willis.
Once again, thank you for your question, and through you, Mayor Mack. One of the advantages of that's triggered a potential rescoping of this project is that, as Councillor Callaghan had suggested, the wastewater fund and sewer and water fund have significant expenditure in front of them. By undertaking a project like this, which still achieves the original intent of what Albury City and what we were intending to do with the project, whilst effectively freeing up that $4.4 million for effectively could be reallocated into critical infrastructure projects within the sewer and water funds.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Through you to the most relevant member of staff, is it important that we undertake this project, albeit rescoped, at this point in time, or could we delay this project to a more medium to longer term time frame to enable us to utilise those funds as we need them now for more critical infrastructure work?
Mr. Zachnich.
Yeah, thanks for the question through you, Mayor Mac. That's possible, Councillor Glacken. We'd need to understand the first order of business is really to understand the feedback from the stakeholders, and then really around timing for Council's capital works program, in this instance in the water fund, noting the projected cost of the rescoping the rescope project is 1.4 million as opposed to 6.4. So there are significant funds being freed up already if council were to proceed with this project in a timely way. Having said that, if council would want to delay that or defer that for other pressing projects, that's also possible. Noting most of those, I think, have been funded in the current 4-year delivery program. So 1.4 may not have the sort of the positive impact on those as opposed to this individual project, but it's certainly an option for council to consider.
And in essence, this motion that we have on the board as it is doesn't necessarily determine when this project will be commenced, and therefore it will be discussed further with the councillors. Yes, okay. Thank you very much. Happy with that.
Thank you. Question, Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. Really to follow on from Councillor Glacken's questions, obviously any delay to a project can potentially incur additional costs as construction and other matters, increase with time, whether that's inflation or other unplanned or unforeseen events. So is there a possibility that if we were acknowledging that Mr. Willis said that we are reliant on the archaeological work to be complete, but if we were to delay it, is there a possibility that actually we would see further cost escalation and therefore, I guess, an undoing of the good work that's been done in descoping this project?
Mr. Zagnich.
Thanks for the question through you there, Mac. Well, I mean, again, that's a possibility. I hope it wouldn't be undoing the savings that we're looking to achieve by rescoping. So that's a possibility, time dependent. Noting that Mr. Willis has indicated that the one of the key drivers around possible additional cost and or delays relates to the archaeological assessment. So that really needs to occur first, but noting that the purpose of the report really is not about whether we proceed with the project or not. It's about whether council's satisfied enough with the information provided to proceed to community consultation, because this is a change to our adopted budget as council endorsed for this financial year. So we'd need to essentially check back in with the community around these changes to the project and the rescoping that's proposed, the nature of it, and the likely cost.
Okay. Speaker 4, Councillor King.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate the staff, much like Councillor Callaghan mentioned, really looking at those fiscal challenges and opportunities as they present. And I think this is quite a good example, really, of a project that could be rescoped because of a couple of reasons, which has been highlighted that in fact, during detailed design, our Aboriginal focus group have actually said they have a stronger preference for something different than what was initially envisaged. So very strong preference for interactive landscape and cultural connection featured rather than a building. So that's certainly, over time that has altered. So I think that's hitting the market in terms of great feedback about what they think is appropriate. And the other one, looking at operating costs ongoing. So not having that building anymore, because we've talked about that would only be operated during business hours. So this new proposal in the rescope enables year-round public access, including weekends and public holidays. So I think it's hit two really key drivers for justifying not just the cost, but for other elements as well that's been identified. So I think, from my perspective, I certainly support hearing what the community has to say, because I think they certainly have highlighted some key reasons why this project is ripe for rescoping, in my view.
Thank you, Councillor King. Speaker 4, Councillor Bullivant. No speakers against.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. The pleasing thing for me is that we are open for business. Wonga Wetlands is one of the nationally recognised wetlands in Australia. The ecotourism that we get there every week and every weekend, and I'm on that road 2 or 3 times a day, so I see the amount of people go there and walk there myself. And the other pleasing thing for me is that we've taken something that was a concept and we've redesigned it in-house. As a council group, I think that our staff should be congratulated on that, because we're using the skills that our staff have got, and we should be giving our staff as many opportunities to design things and put things into practice as possible. So I'll be supporting this motion because I think it's a win-win for everybody, for the budgets and the community. So we'll see what our community says after the consultation come back, but I think it's a worthwhile project.
Thank you. No speakers against. Speaker for, Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I think essentially every other speaker's really taken the words out of my mouth already. But I too want to acknowledge just the absolutely fantastic work that the staff have done on this project. I think the consultation with our First Nations community, and I think just an incredibly sensitive kind of redesign of this project, given the context, the fiscal context, but also the environmental and the cultural context, is really exciting actually to see that a project like this could actually have been delivered in-house in a relatively short time frame as well. And yeah, so I'm excited to see what the community say to us, but I think it's a really great project.
Thank you, Councillor Hudson. No speakers, further speakers for or against. Just to wind up before we go to the close. Yeah, look, I do agree with the councillors that this is a wonderful way to rescope and actually do the hard work and heavy lifting with our First Nations people, and having their support on the rescope is critical and really important. I was here in 2014 when we went through the original Wonga Wetlands Master Plan and reviewing it on attachments. It brings back some interesting thoughts. Cars in trees and yeah, it was like a merry-go-round ride, to be honest. But look, it was exciting, but it's not possible and not tangible. To say that, within, who would have thought 9 years, the price to do that has gone from 1.2 million to 6.4, and that's not all those other artifacts, that's just the building, is really an interesting process that the staff have shown enormous strength in rescoping, because it was never going to be really popular. But what you've come up with is quite amazing, and I think, to Councillor Bullivant's point, you are to be congratulated. And I think that really is about that innovation piece that Morrison Lane don't talk about, but it is about innovation and finding ways to do things better and work smarter, not harder. And I think fantastic and well done. And yeah, look, I don't think the cars in the tree were ever going to be a winner, but well done. And I truly do support the rescope and moving forward with this project. But again, like Councillor Glacken, I don't know what the net cost. I mean, the Wonga Wetlands is already an amazing place to be. Does it need a building? Does it need anything? It sells itself. It's got a car park. People can walk, ride their bikes, do whatever they like down there, and see the artifacts what they are. Does it need anything? That's the question I'd ponder. Do we need to spend that money in the first place? But what you've done is amazing work, so well done. Councillor Callaghan, did you wish to close debate?
Yes, thank you. And I'd firstly like to close by reflecting on the pre-meeting briefing session, and it was really practical feedback. And I think it was Councillor Glacken who raised in there the importance of wet weather shelter and also shade. It was hard to differentiate within that. The renders were fantastic, but it was hard to tell whether it actually provided that. But I'm sure the community will be seeking wet weather shelter and shade as well. But highlighting a few features as well, and yes, I think we do need it, yarning and dance circles that provide cultural opportunities for gathering, barbecue and picnic areas that support family and community use, walking paths and bush tucker gardens, and that enhancement of Wiradjuri campsite extending to those walking tracks with interpretive connection. So I really want to commend the staff on the rendering, yes, which was done in-house and in a quick time frame. The description that I'm capturing there and the renders are truly interactive, and I think the community will be really receptive to it. So So thank you.
Thank you. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. 13.5 annual review of council committee and working parties. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I move that council endorse the draft 2025-26 Albury City Committees and Working Parties Register, subject to further discussion in the chamber to finalise councillor representation for committees identified in table 1.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second.
Thank you. Councillor Hudson, do you wish to speak to that at all?
I'll simply speak to my own change, which is regrettably I can't be the council representative on the Parklands Albury Wodonga board. I just find, unfortunately, having to balance council work, my own paid employment as a nurse, my work as a union representative, and so forth. I haven't been able to commit the time necessary to the board. So I'd be more than happy to nominate another councillor to sit on that board. For example, Councillor Callaghan.
What just happened then?
Or anyone.
Self-elected, self-nominated. Okay, so councillors, we do have the list in front of you, and certainly there are current representatives and there are people putting their hand up, and the process would ordinarily be to check with the people themselves in relation to there's 4 items there. Just to take away Parklands Albury Wodonga, I'm happy to share that with Councillor Callaghan as the backup substitute, and the others. Can I have some?
Is there any other interest in Parkland?
Are there any other interest in Parkland Albury Wodonga, councillors? Gee, don't jump at me all in a hurry. Okay, Councillor Baker.
No, I'm interested, but I'm not putting my hand up for the position. Thank you. I did it way back for quite a number of years. Thank you.
No, I have no problem doing it. Thanks, Councillor Baker. So in relation to the other ones, Local Transport Forum, I have Councillor Bukowski as a current delegate, still wishing to do it, and the substitute is Councillor Hudson. Councillor Glacken, did you have anything you wish to add to that?
Then if Councillor Bukowski is interested in staying, that's fine. And the next one, the Southern
Regional Planning Panel
is not.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
likely to not exist in the future, so that can continue as is until that changes.
And the last one being the Albury Airport Advisory Committee. Councillor Glacken, your name's on that. Are you happy to continue?
I am, but I wanted to make sure Councillor Bullivant, if he wanted to take that on or not, or.
Okay, so Councillor Bullen, you happy to substitute it as listed?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well done. Okay, so there you have it, and
Record those as discussed, if you're happy with that.
happy to record as discussed, Mr. Zachnich and Ms. Stevens. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Hudson, do you wish to close debate?
Just briefly to say that the work that Parklands Albury Wodonga does is unbelievable, really. The amount that they can achieve with the budgets that they have and the funding that they receive is really phenomenal. And I'm very proud that Albury Council continues to support them. And I hope that Councillor Mack and Councillor Callaghan, I hope you enjoy your time on that board. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Councillor Hudson. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. 13.6, Eric reviewed 4-year strategic work plan 2024 to 2028, including annual work plan 2025 to 2026. Councillor Bukowski.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I move the recommendation that council endorse the reviewed ARIC 4-year strategic work plan 2024 to 2028, including the annual work plan 2025 to 2026.
Councillor King.
Happy to second.
Councillor Bukowski, do you wish to speak to that at all?
Just briefly, thank you. Just to note that this plan isn't simply an administrative document. It is a core accountability framework that ensures that our organisation remains transparent, well-governed and financially responsible. I believe the plan is good governance and is essential for safeguarding community assets, supporting sound financial management and also maintaining the trust of our community. So
Thank you. Need more speakers or questions? No? Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. 13.7 Albury Airport Advisory Committee membership. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Thank you. I move the recommendation through you to council that council endorses the Albury Airport Advisory Committee membership as follows, with reference to aviation industry representatives, Air Services Australia, currently represented by John Graham, Qantas Link currently represented by Joshua Hogan, Regional Express currently represented by David Broxby and Mr. Daniel Joinby, and the skills-based representatives to be Mr. Gary Zorner, Mr. Chris Gatt, Ms. Claire Donnellan, Mr. Glenn Robinson, Mr. Anish Narazi, and Mrs. B. Limas. And to confirm that a couple of those people are reconfirmation, have been they have reapplied and been reappointed. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second the recommendation.
Councillor Glacken, did you wish to speak to that at all?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
No questions or debate. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Airport debtors in administration, 13.8. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Pakowski.
Thank you. I move the recommendation that council A, approve the write-off of JetGo's outstanding debtor balance of $249,795.37, and B, endorse Albury City to continue advocating to both the Australian government and the Rex administrators for reimbursement of funds owed to council-owned airports resulting from Rex's entry into administration.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Happy to second.
Councillor Pakowski, did you wish to open debate? I have a question first, though.
Yep, happy to take the question.
Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. My question relates to Part B, and probably a question to the most relevant member of staff. Advocating, is that as good as we get, Mr. Glass, because we're not a secured creditor?
Mr. Glass.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Baker, and through you, Mayor Mac. Councillor Baker, you might have noticed last week there was an announcement from the federal government in relation to a new fund for $5 million for unsecured remote and regional airports that had a debt relating to the Rex administration. That owed a debt relating to the Rex administration.
Totally. So what was the
federal government last week announced a fund of $5 million for the benefit of regional and remote airports, for those that are owed money when Rex went into administration back in July 2025.
As unsecured creditors.
As unsecured creditors, yes. Thank you, Mayor Mac.
Yep.
We can apply for that. Is that what happens next?
Thank you for the question, Councillor Baker. Through you, Mayor Mac. We haven't seen the guidelines associated, the details, but our intention is absolutely to apply for that funding.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor King.
That was just the clarity I was asked. I know
okay.
it's only a week ago, but what would be the process? Yeah.
No worries. Councillor Pakowski, opening debate.
Thank you. So I recognise the importance of airline connectivity to our region. It does support business growth and tourism and family connection. However, I do need to express my deep concern and disappointment that our community is again being asked to absorb the financial consequences of private operators who have failed to meet their obligations. Nearly $1 million of unpaid debt across 4 airlines isn't small. It's the equivalent of playgrounds, of roads, of footpaths, of community grants. These are real community outcomes for our residents that they're now going to miss out on. And whilst I understand that administration and liquidation are legal processes beyond our control. What is within our control is the framework that we now put in place to prevent this from happening again. Our community shouldn't be subsidising private airlines. Our ratepayers shouldn't be expected to carry this burden, and we can't simply write this off as the cost of doing business. So I sincerely hope that stronger contractual protections, the possibility of prepayment or security guarantees will now be in place, because if the outcome of this report is simply that we accept the loss, then we've failed to protect the financial interests of the people that we represent. This isn't about stopping flights, it's about ensuring that airlines respect the communities that they profit from. And the chances of council recovering ratepayers' money is low. In fact, it's very low. So I'll be voting today to write off the JetGo debt and obviously endorse Part B, which is inevitable considering council's position being that of an unsecured creditor. But I expect clear, detailed assurance that this is not going to happen again.
Thank you. Councillor King, question? You remember your question?
Thank you. I think could we seek some clarity in terms of why the debt accrues the way it is? From my recollection, it's to do with once passenger numbers are determined, we then bill the airlines. So am I correct in that process? And B, what would be in council's control to alter that form of recouping costs and sending invoices that are accurate?
Mr. Glass.
Yeah, thank you for your question, Councillor King, and through you, Mayor Mac. And your assumptions are broadly right. So for passengers, for example, a passenger uses the airport, if you like, on say the 15th of the month. At the end of the month, we reconcile with the airline as to how many passengers use the airport. And we normally don't get those figures for 5 or 6 days after the end of the month. So you can imagine the likes of Qantas or Rex, they've got dealing with almost probably 100 airports across Australia and having to reconcile all the passengers that travel through every airport and ensure that the passenger numbers are correct. Then they send us the passenger data. We promptly turn that around and create an invoice. And the invoice is typically 30 days end of month. And so if someone travels on the 1st of August, the numbers get reconciled sometime in early September, mid-September, and the invoice is not due until October. And so there is a period of time there between when the passenger travels, when the money's owed, versus when the cash cycle of collecting those finances. The challenge, of course, is you could argue, well, why don't you tighten up the cash cycle? And that, as Councillor Bartkowski alluded to, that does actually have an impact on whether airlines will use our facilities or not. And some airlines don't travel to certain airports because of those reasons. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Question, Councillor Hudson.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. Through you to the most relevant member of staff. This is obviously this sort of thing has happened obviously multiple times. As Councillor Bartkowski mentioned, there's over $1 million worth of debt owing from, I believe, 4 different airlines. Have council's operations changed at all in response to this?
Yeah.
Mr. Glass.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Hudson, and through you, Councillor Mac. You're right. First, so since 2018, we have paid very close attention to our cash cycle in more recent times, and particularly in the last 12 months, as the report alludes to. When Rex went into administration in July last year, we moved their payment terms back to 7 days. We were able to do that, obviously, because of the underwriting from the federal government. A lot of privately run airlines that would be a lot more problematic for privately run airlines.
Mr. Zaklich wants to ask a question.
Thank you. Just to expand on Mr. Glass's answer. So the council's also put in place a security bond for operators. So Bonza, for example, had a security bond allocated. We were able to draw on that, notwithstanding the debt that was that had eventuated. We were able to claw back some of that funding through that security bond. So that's a model going forward in terms of application to new entrants. And obviously we've got a range of incentives and attractors for new entrants into the market, which will also now not be utilised as a result of these changes. So it does have a, while that has a positive impact, some of those measures in terms of making sure we capture as much funding as possible, prior to some of these operators going into administration. The flip side is it does then have a negative impact on, attraction of those sorts of operators to certain regional airports. But our position is clear, and we've made this clear through advocacy to the federal government. We can't keep keeping on, meeting these costs or meeting these bills when they go into administration. There needs to be some more sort of federal system put in place. If the federal government's issuing licences for operators to operate out of regional airports, then there needs to be some more financial control, either through a security bond or a bank guarantee, before they're granted the licence, to ensure that that's the case. Otherwise, regional communities like Albury will continue to go through this cycle again and again. So that's really been the focus for the advocacy, and just noting some of these additional measures we've put in place in order to do business with these types of airlines.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin, question.
Thank you. Through you to the most relevant member of staff. My understanding is that the cost of running an airline, profit and loss is very small, and therefore why this situation arises every now and then. The question I'd really like to get a handle on, which feeds into the information we've already been provided and partners with that, is what, if the staff know, what the percentage of the fares in and out of Albury on the providers are paid in advance by the ticket holders or the travellers, so the airline gets the money up front, or what percentage would be, for example, business and they're invoiced monthly, so therefore the airline doesn't get it in advance of the person flying. What sort of percentages are those? Because I'm wondering if that has an effect on that viability of the airlines and us being able to ask for the funds in a more timely fashion, noting they've been paid in advance for some of it. Thank you.
Thank you. So thanks for the question. That's the detail we don't have at this point in time, but they're the sort of things, and the Mayor is aware that, there have been 2 federal inquiries announced in the last couple of weeks around regional air services and pricing. So they're the sort of things that certainly will be drawn out in those submissions and discussions at the inquiry. Suffice to say, we could, one model could be, billing, having an average charge per month payable in advance based on average number of seats, for example. So paying ahead of, actuals and then reconciling actuals against funds that are held. They're the sort of, other opportunities. But again, it's no point just Albury doing that. I mean, the sector, regional airports generally need to have that sort of either being able to do that federally by the government that licenses them. That's one key point we'll be making.
Thank you. Just there are no further speakers for or against. Just to build on what Mr. Zachnich just referenced, last week we're in Canberra as Regional Capitals Australia, and we had a meeting with the Australian Airport Association, Simon Westaway and his team, and we talked in detail about the 2 inquiries that have been tabled by the government, Catherine King's Productivity Commission discussion and the terms of reference. And it was decided that as local government that we only have one level of representation, and that's not every local government has an airport. More importantly, 40% of those airports don't make money. One of the things we did discuss, as Mr. Zachnich has touched on, is the government issues these licenses to these companies, there should be a security bond applied to that or a bank guarantee. And also in relation to the monopoly and current costs of flying just from Albury to return to Sydney, $600 with QantasLink, and I think Rex have been struggling to fill their slots, but still provide a service. There's been reduction of slots from Qantas again, regionally, and certainly from Rex's perspective because of their vicarious situation. But the issue for the Airports Association and Regional Capitals Australia is that we need more equitable access to air travel, and the Minister King is very keen to understand what that looks like and what needs to change to enable that. So it sounds pretty positive that from the date that they took over government this time, she was very keen in the previous term of government to review this. Hopefully there is some good news, but more importantly, we can only control what we can control. And I agree with Councillor Bukowski, nearly $1 million is a lot of money to lose to airlines. And I know that we discussed in the workshops about, you know, the quid pro quo was bonds took a lot of passengers, so then we got parking income and so on and so forth. But we could have doubled that return to our community had we had that money and free use of that money. So I think it's really, really important for us to make that representation, and I'm pretty confident that with the Airport Association we can cut through the ether. But a lot of the issues that we have to address now are case studies, real case studies about those impacts, instead of the quantitative process. It's qualitative as well. The government's keen to understand what that looks like. So watch this space. So Councillor Bukowski, did you wish to close debate?
No, thank you.
Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. Officer reports for noting the Albury City 2024-25 annual report. Thank you, councillors. Councillor Bullivan.
I recommend that council receives and notes Albury City's 2024-2025 annual report that is to be submitted to the Minister of Local Government by 30th November 2025.
Thank you. Councillor Bukowski.
Would you second the motion?
Councillor Bullivan, wish to speak to that?
No, thank you, Mayor Mac.
Two speakers for. Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mayor Mac. I thought there was some really, really good statistics in that report. Our age demographic, our growth, and we're very lucky to be where we are. And I think Albury's got bright prospects and people are coming to this area. So it is good for business. It's good to live here, but with that comes responsibilities on council that we have to deliver services to meet that growing population. But I know it's a darn sight better to be growing than shrinking, and a lot of the regional cities and towns around Australia are shrinking. So we're in a fortunate position, but it does come with some other
growing
issues, growing pains, or whatever you want to call it. But you know, I was pleased to see our biggest population demographic is between the 25 and 34 year age group. I thought we might have been older than that, and we're not. And we also have a lot of young ones under 4. So it is a sign of a very, very healthy city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. Speaker for, no speakers against. Councillor Callaghan.
Yes, happy to speak for it. And reading the annual report, it's 96 pages celebrating the dedication and hard work of our staff who continue to deliver for our community. And the data and statistics tell an incredible story, and it's absolutely well worth a read. And, you know, I can't call them all out because some of them are pretty phenomenal, but, you know, our customer experience team took 53,430 phone calls. Like that's incredible. Our libraries processed 425,000 loans to our community who get to access that amazing service. Our staff have secured $34 million plus in secured in grant funding, which will deliver amazing outcomes for our community in a variety of different projects that will stretch out over this next financial year as well. But another really impressive one, and we talk about a growing community, and, you know, we're often hearing the delays with our DAs, but it's nearly $500 million in approved DAs, which is really insane and really incredible by our staff. So yeah, well done to the team that have made that happen. And if you haven't already, you should absolutely check it out. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Callaghan. Any other speakers for or against? No, I'd just like to also add to that, this is an annual report, and I haven't, in my experience, and I'd like to, touch base with all the previous councillors, I haven't seen a negative one, and it certainly gives rise to, as councillor Baker said, a lot of great demographic data, and a lot of great outcomes that have been delivered by our staff, and certainly by people in this organisation who are very proud of their community. To councillor Baker's point about growth, I think it's quite interesting that Albury and Wodonga are growing at top 10 rates in their respective states, and I think that really is probably indicative of the location and what we have to offer. And to our previous reports in council tonight, I think we certainly will never close shop on this community, but if you want gold plate, you need to pay for gold plate, and that's really what's happening in our society and our economy at the moment. But I tell you what, I think Albury and Wodonga punch well above their weight when it comes to what they provide for their community. But again, as I spoke at a GHD panel the other night, it comes with growing pains, and they are clearly sewer and water infrastructure, and the Thurgoona-Willunga corridor is in sad need of big investment, which is up around the $500 million mark, not the 400 million mark. But the reality is we're at 700 million for water infrastructure to find that capacity for that growth. And that's a good thing to have, but it's a big bill. So I look forward to continuing this story. It's a fantastic story, and that's what makes us all proud to be councillors in this city. Councillor Bullen, do you wish to close debate?
Yeah, thank you, Mac. Just alluding to your last comment about being proud as councillors and being proud of our city's growth. I think Albury's probably the most beautiful place in Australia. I'm very proud of Albury and what we achieve here. Coincidentally today, talk about growth, I did hear a survey today. CommBank mentioned today that in Albury alone, dining is up by 11% within the city, and retail has just gone up by 5% with the city. So it tells us there's a bit of action within the commercial areas for people going out and that. So Albury's a great place to be, so we should be very proud of it.
Thank you. Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. 14.2, the Economic Indicators Report. Councillor King.
Just waiting for it to come up. I'd like to move that council receive and note the Albury Economic Indicators Report, November 2025.
Thank you. Councillor Blacken.
Happy to second that.
Thank you. Councillor King, do you wish to open debate on that?
Really just to highlight that it's a great little snapshot of where we're heading, but just a few observations that, well, it comes as no surprise in one sense, but 1/5 of all businesses in Albury were engaged in construction. So that construction boom, to the previous councillor's points in the previous item, that certainly shows that. 1/9 engaged in rental, hiring and real estate services. So again, that connection. So yeah, just highlighting that it talks about a population growth continuing to grow, and often we still get underestimated our population growth by the decision makers in Sydney and Canberra, and that's where this data is really beneficial. I think it gives us the evidence, gives us the data to advocate for our community, but more importantly for everyone in our community who are making business decisions to work out our demographics and who's doing what and what the opportunities are. So I'd like to congratulate the team in putting the report together. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Any further question or debate? Happy to put the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? The motion is carried. We have no delegates' reports for noting. No urgent business, councillors. Anyone with any urgent business? No. Confidential matters, there aren't any. The meeting is closed at 7:28. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, staff.